pretty
Oh,
much.
nice.
So
That's what she said.
I tried getting in today, and I think it's asking for my payment. I'm like, I can't. It's the same billing info. So I was like, whatever. The show keeps on going, right? We don't
I
stop for anything.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
pivoted, did, and here we are.
yeah. I speaking of personal information, I mean, have you ever? Is there a password out there where you're just like, I really should change that? We won't talk about
Well,
it.
a
So
lot of people forget to change their router username and password. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The default is admin and your password is password.
really,
So if you don't change that, anybody can go into your router if they are able to get into access. They can simply change it, lock you out.
some good advice. I don't know if anybody's listening to us that's around the ages of, you know,
That could be the hook.
62.
Hey, everybody,
Yeah.
have you checked your router? Do you still have it set to the default settings? Check it out.
Yeah. And this is brought to you by Surfshark, your local VPN. Just kidding. Blue Chew. We were talking about that the other day.
That's right. Save
Yeah.
30% if
Save
you
30.
jump on some Blue Chew.
Dang.
Acts of kindness, Gabe does bear.
Take that.
That's the
We
passcode to
choose
get you 30% off if you listen to Acts of Kindness all
we
the way through,
choose
though.
to bear kindness.
The blue way,
The blue way.
30% off.
So today's topic, and I'm going kind of a little bit of a different direction today because it kind of hit me today.
Oh,
Spanking your children.
oh shoot, here we go.
Yeah. So I know it could be controversial. I've been hit as a kid. My brother's been hit as a kid. And maybe I should say spank because hit.
There you go.
You know, there's a lot of ways you can hit something, but spank with the belt, spank with the hand, spank with the chancla, or whatever it may be, whatever you can find.
Yeah.
But I think spanking is definitely looked down upon today. It's not something that you should do, and I honestly don't know how bad it is. I don't know if this is something that's backed up by psychologists that say, yeah, spanking's bad and it's going to affect your child. Here's why. Or just spanking is bad because it hurts your feelings. So, what are your thoughts on spanking? And did you do it?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I was not obviously, but I was spanked as a child growing up. Shoot. I think gosh, I don't even know what my last spanking was, but probably, in my 10s, 11, I guess. But did I spank my kids? No, I did not. I had much more sinister and evil ways to punish my children. A lot of it was simply having them do the same stuff I did in the military. Did something wrong? Just go ahead and knock out some push-ups. And just keep knocking out push-ups. Oh, you're tired? Why don't you just go ahead and flip on over and do some flutter kicks? Let's work out those legs. Oh, your legs are tired? Let's go ahead and stand up and let's just do some overhead arm claps. Oh, your arms are tired? All right, let's lay back. So I'm constantly working a different body part. So you're always never not gonna be tired. And I didn't have to because they had to do the work. They had to listen. And I just took things away. The power of taking things away and in some cases probably getting rid of it.
Yeah,
About you?
cool. Yeah. I mean,
I
well,
wouldn't
that's,
say
yeah.
spanking your newborns would be the way to go. So I think I
No,
already know the answer to this one.
you just shake them a little bit. No, yeah. No, I think it's interesting your punishment because like the bruises, like you were saying, it's a different body part. So nothing's going to show, right?
Oh, bruises from
The bruises.
the
I
muscle
actually
fatigue.
I had that one time where there was when I worked at the special needs school, there was a mom whose kid I was looking after, and she would like park off in the distance. And I was told this. I never saw her, but the other mentor, the other person, paraprofessional, they called them, and told me, and then even the teacher in our class told me. They're like, yeah, she sometimes sits over there and we'll just like watch you like a hawk, you know. And okay, I get that. Um, but I remember one time she was just like, oh, he has like these marks on his hand, you know, like where would he get that from? And I'm just like, I already felt it. Like, I'm like, are you accusing me of hitting him or like, you know, doing something to him kind of thing? But the teacher was there and she was like, oh, like he hits the chain link fences like at the top, you know, like
Yeah.
he hits it pretty hard. Like, and he just kind of does it occasionally. And I didn't think about that, but I was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, yeah, he definitely does that. And I'm like, if she's sitting over there watching, she would be able to see that. Right. But it just kind of, it kind of hit me to where I was just like, damn, like, you know, like she's accusing me possibly of doing it. And if I was a parent and I didn't think about that, I probably would be concerned too. Right. But
Yeah.
it hit me in a way where I was like, like it sucked being accused. And I had nothing came to mind. Like I couldn't even think of anything as to like, oh yeah, he does this or he does that. Like he used to draw on his arm because I had tattoos. So that was easy. You know, it's like, oh, why is he coloring on himself? Oh, because you have a tattoo and he's doing it on the same arm. Right. But
Yeah.
no, it's just a little side story. But with my kids, the reason why I thought about that today was because I was kind of messing around. I was kind of playing around with the idea. But I told my wife in the car because my kid's going through something, my older one. Um, she's like 2.5 now, and I feel like that terrible two's coming out, and she's just,
Mm-hmm.
I get no sleep. She's been waking up at like 2 in the morning, and I'm up with her until 8 in the morning when her grandpa comes down and takes her for a walk. So I have been running on fumes. And I'm just like, and it's been like that for the last 4 days. So I'm just kind of like, why don't you sleep? And she doesn't want to take naps. So she's screaming, she's like hollering, she's just been kind of fussy. And I was just joking with my wife. I'm like, well, maybe we just need to be more direct with her. Maybe we need to spank her. You know, just like think about, you know, what our parents did. It's like, hey, stop it, you know? Um, And she's like, no, you don't do that. I'm like, you know, I forgot what she said, but I was like, no, I'm just kidding. But at the same time, it just brought up the idea. I was like, oh, we should talk about spanking on today. Because at the same time, too, I'm not an advocate for spanking, but also I feel like not spanking is not always a good option either. I mean, there's certain kids that learn in different ways. And I think that with some kids, they don't catch on unless you tell them. And you don't have to spank them right away. But I had a math teacher in high school that mentioned that he would tell his kid, "Hey, don't don't touch the stove, right? It's hot." And the kid would call, you tell him no, and she's at that phase right now where you say no, and she looks at you and she smiles. She goes, "Oh, really?" You know, and keeps doing it. And he goes, "No, don't touch the stove. I'm gonna tell you again, don't touch the stove. It's hot. It's gonna burn you, and I'm gonna have to punish you. You know, I'm gonna spank you, kind of thing." And then the kid touches it, gets burnt. Yeah, told you it was hot. Now I have to spank you. So it's kind of like, you know, that kid got burned and he had to learn a lesson because he didn't listen to his dad, right? And he gave him 3 warnings and he said, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. All right. Now I have to show you I was serious about that. So I think like fair warnings are nice. I just remember like when I would get in trouble, like, you know, my dad coming through the door immediately. What do you do? Takes out the belt, just like, you know, like you're gonna get it, right? Like you better
Don't
run.
even care what's
Yeah.
going on. I just want to beat the crap out of his ass with his belt.
And you know, they're coming back from like a 12-hour shift, you know, from work, you know, maybe some overtime here and there.
Yeah.
And you know, what are they gonna do? Oh, hey, don't do that. You know, it really hurts me. It upsets me when you do that. It's like, all right, cool. Fuck you, dad. You know, you know, that's the kind of kid you become. I think, right? When it's like
Yeah.
when there's no fear. And what's funny is that, you know, at least in Christianity growing up, it's like you're fearful of God, right? Like you're supposed to fear God in a sense.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Exactly.
but yet at the same time, it's like when you're a parent, it's like, oh no, don't do that. Talk to them nicely. Make sure they understand. It's like maybe that works, but not every parent is always gonna have time to do that. So then that's when the belt and the trunk will probably need to help out, right? And it's like you don't spank them with the buckle part because that part hurts. That's, you know, your father slips on accident and also buckle hits you, and you're just like, but you know, everybody, I'm fine. Okay, I came out all right. I think that's the whole message is that I think we've talked about that I think spanking is necessary at times for kids, but I'll
Yeah.
let you go.
Well, it was easy for my kids to make me upset to where I fly off the hinge, but they knew they really effed up if they pissed off mom. And mom got a
Oh,
little loud. Then it's like, wow, this is easy. They already know. So
mm,
it's like, okay, front lean and rest. Let's go ahead and start knocking these out until I'm tired. So basically, it becomes in the military almost like they call it a smoking session. You effed up. I mean, you could do the old days where we're just gonna take you out back, teach you a lesson, and get you right. But physical activity is the way to go. It tires you. It makes your body weak. It just the nervous system is overloaded, so it almost becomes painful. But it's self-inflicted. So there you go.
yeah. I mean, some people just don't learn, right? So it's like, what do you
No,
do?
no,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
and
I mean,
a lot of times too, like even with don't touch that, don't touch
yeah,
that. You know what? Let them do it. They'll figure it out. I mean, it won't kill them, but guess what? They won't stick their finger in the light socket again. They
yeah.
won't touch that oven.
Mhm. And that's the thing, right? You're trying to protect them, and that's the other thing too. It's like this is gonna hurt me more than it hurts you.
Oh, my
Like, it's
favorite.
like, yeah, me spanking
Or
you,
I'm
it's gonna
doing this
hurt me.
because I love you.
I, it's like an Adam Sandler, no, daddy, no. What do you do? Right, he gets the belt. No, daddy, no. But no, it's true. Like I don't want to spank my kid, and I probably won't 'cause with the fear of backlash of somebody being like, "Oh, you spank your kid." Oh, dude. Okay. Well, now protecting the services are going to be outside my door, and he's like, "Oh, you hit them with your right hand." Yeah, my not so tough hand. Oh, you really shouldn't hit them. You should really talk to them first as they're like trying to stick a fork in the socket. And it's like, hey, don't do that. It's gonna hurt.
No.
Mommy's gonna have
That
to
that's the one
watch you.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I can't understand is like, okay, we're gonna sit down. You're gonna try to sit down and talk, and I guess negotiate, or even
With like a
try to get
yeah,
through to the child to say, okay,
yeah.
I know you're focused on that over there, but
Mhm,
focus on me. Slow down.
mhm.
Okay, why do you want to stick your finger in there? What's the they're not going to listen.
They don't
You
know.
grab their hand, you look at them, you tell them no.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
they do it, well, I mean, it's going to take that one zap. That
I
one zap
mean,
will make them feel pretty good.
yeah. It's like they're not gonna know the difference. Like, oh, that's a 220. That'll kill you. It's one of those things where,
Well,
well, anything could kill you, but they're not going to know the voltage. They're not going to know what's safe and what's not safe. And they're going to have to rely on you to be able to tell them what is okay and what's not okay. And they're going to hate you for it down the road. And I get that, and I'm going to hate that part when I get older where it's like, Dad, God, really? Dropping me off at school or whatever it is. I don't want to drop you off at school. I don't want to wake up at like 7 or 8 in the morning to go take you there. But it's a duty of a parent, I'm sure. And I can't spank a 2
yes.
year old. You know what I mean? Because the 2 year old's not going to know. And I think that was the joke I made to my wife was it's bad. But I was just kind of like, oh, how would we spank her? And I'm like, she's not going to remember. But it'll set her right then and there, right?
Woo.
She's gonna know like, hey, okay, she got spanked, but then she's not gonna remember. So it fixes the problem, I guess, in some ways. I'm not gonna do it, everybody. I'm just saying, okay. I'm just trying to be funny here, but I think that the thing is like when they get older and they start kind of understanding how things kind of work a little bit, that's when I think that you just I gotta come up with a different disciplinary action. Maybe having them work out is probably the best way to do it. Did they ever tell you no when you were telling them, hey, get down, do some push-ups? No, I'm not gonna do that. What do you do? That's when you spank them or what? What do you
No,
do?
that's when
Yeah.
that's when I start just taking stuff away in their room
Okay.
that they like, and maybe it's
Yeah.
their favorite toy, or maybe it's a video game or something that they play, or handheld, or whatever it is. Or maybe, hey, guess what? You don't get to play that sport. You get to come home and do your homework, which I know this sounds bad. They would already have their homework done before they even started doing everything. They come home, do their homework, but it's just you have to stay on top of making sure that your kids are just aware of what's going on. You talk about the scenarios before it happens, and you really just be there for them. You have to be fair, but you also just need to be honest with them too. So I don't know if they ask a crazy question about drugs or something, like maybe they see somebody on the side, they're over there doing, got the, what is it called, the fentanyl hang, where they're just like leaned over and they're just standing in the middle of the road like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could get in there. Well, you know what? They're just having a bad day or something. I mean, you could lie about it, but I think just me being brutally honest, not to the point where like, oh yeah, that's a fentanyl effect or whatever, but no, that's what happens when you take drugs. And if they want to ask further, and it's like, well, they're on the streets, and just, making it clear. It's not like, hey, I don't know that person's story. Because again, acts of kindness. Everybody has struggles. Everybody has issues that they're trying to go to work themselves out of. But at least when an innocent child asks a question about something that might be controversial, at least just be honest. Give the facts, whichever age they are. Because if anything, your child is going to know, hey, dad tells like it is. He shoots straight. He won't BS me. Cool.
You're pretty confident that you have not the right answers, but an answer that makes sense to your kids whenever they
Yeah.
ask a question. Yeah.
Because that's an opportunity for you to share your experience, your knowledge.
Mhm.
And that's also a good way to possibly even sway them into the direction where you don't want them to go, so that they can see, okay, that's because you want them to come to you to ask questions. You never want them like, oh, we can't talk about that. Oh, like, no. I mean, because obviously you're the parent. They confide in you, and maybe they ask a weird question, like, hey, my little thingy gets, or whatever. You got to talk about it. Stop touching it. Leave it alone.
What does
Yeah, you
it
don't need to
do?
go in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to go into the
Yeah.
details of all that stuff, but you could just say like, hey, just it happens from time to time. It's just blood flow. Like you could be very factual. It's just blood flow and it goes away. Hey,
Yeah.
because I guarantee you that little kid's not thinking about that kind of stuff. It just happens.
Yeah, and I think a lot of their information they get from TV now, right? So
Ugh, social
you can't,
media, I know.
yeah, social media is full of bots and misinformation, which is one of the reasons why I kind of gravitated away from our down the rabbit hole a little bit and just wanted to talk more about this was because, you know, about spanking kids. But just the fact that down the rabbit hole is just, it's just, you talk about conspiracies and they're fun. I think they're fun. Do I believe every single one? No. But it's just the fact that some people you just can't trust with certain information because then they just go crazy. And I don't want to be responsible for that, right? So I think that information is pretty important. So when you're a kid, one thing that I'm not looking forward to is when a family member is no longer here, right?
Hmm.
And they're kind of too young to really understand what that means. If you don't mind me asking, how would you even approach that? Because I don't, did you have to look anything up or did you already kind of have an answer? How'd that work for you?
Oh, and somebody passed away.
Yeah, and you had to kind of explain to your kids, like maybe it's somebody they were close to, when they were younger. You could even be like a pet, right? It's like if the pet's no longer there, like, oh, how do you explain that?
Well, you could be very that this is where you need to pick your battles. You don't need to go in like, well, they had a cardiac arrest, their heart seized up, and yeah, they died. But they didn't die instantly. Actually, the brain stays active for another 3 more minutes. So really, they're
They
dead, but they're alive. That makes sense.
so
And
they
nobody
feel
was probably
everything.
there. So you could really create this PTSD moment for the child. It's like, oh my God. Or you could just simply say, you know, grandma or grandpa, and they're off to go see the rest of the family that's up there. They're going to go be with the angels. I mean, you could say however you want. You can keep religion in or out, whatever you want. but at least, make it to where it's like they went to a better place.
Yeah. I think that's where it makes it the hardest to be like an atheist of some sort because you're just like, oh, I don't know. Are they going to be okay? I don't know. So you kind of
Well,
have
I
to
mean,
lie, right? You kind of have to
you
tell the
do.
whole white lie of, oh yeah, no, they're in a better place now. It's like, oh, I hated that bitch, you know. But you're just,
Well,
it's just, yeah,
you also want them
yeah,
to not be emotionally scarred at 3 years old. I mean,
of course.
yeah, that's the biggest thing. Is just like going, oh my god, everybody's dying. It's like, no, we don't want them to think that. They want them to enjoy their childhood. Keep them as innocent as possible. I think that's not to the point where like you're sheltering them, but just keep it to where they're not watching rated PG-13 movies when they're 6, 7
Oh,
years old. Come on. That's just some of the things that I've noticed because some kids are going, "Oh, did you see? What was it K-pop Demon Hunters?" Like, dude, you're in first grade. Are you serious right now?
well,
And some
that's
parents be like
actually,
going,
yeah.
"What?"
No, go for it. Finish what you're saying.
Well, no, I'm
Sorry.
just saying like some parents might think that's just crazy, but where does it stop? Where do you say, okay, well, this is just over the line? It's like, well,
Mm.
to that kid, over the line might be killing demons. So,
Mommy, Daddy, I see demons at night.
right. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
extreme, but
yeah.
let them just watch, cartoons or heck, you know what? Maybe let them go outside and play with their friends. There's a concept.
I don't think kids understand that anymore. I mean, you have
That
to
means
take
like
them to the
social
park.
interaction, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy talk.
It's kind
You
of
might get in
weird.
a fight. You may have to stand up to for yourself. You may have to, you know, be in a tough spot and just be able to have to figure it out. We all did that.
Prefer
You
calling them
can't
a
be like,
slut
oh,
on social media. Like,
oh,
can
I'm
you
sorry,
believe
bud.
what they did to me? You know, it's like, hey, are you okay? Oh yeah, everything's fine. And you go back and you just kind of like bash them online.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that, but I guess I wouldn't say I'm old school because I'm pretty sure the people that are actually old school are like, dude, it's not even close. But you went out to the park, you went out to the basketball court, you went out to the skate park, you went wherever, the arcade. I know you kids probably don't know about that, but there, you go play video games at an arcade and you socialize with people and you compete. But you have fights, you have situations, you have altercations, and you either talk your way out of it or, hey, guess we're going out back and we're gonna, figure it out who's actually right. And it ends up being, the bigger, yeah, fisticuffs.
I
Not guns, not knives, just duking it
yeah,
out.
the bigger guy is usually right. Like that's how it works.
Not all the time, my
Not
friend.
all the
Not all the
time.
time.
Got to have
No,
that
there's always
training.
those. There's some quiet ones where they don't pick fights, but gosh, when you push their wrong button and they knock you out in 2 punches,
They'll finish it.
respect,
Yeah.
respect. Wow.
Well, it's funny that you brought up arcades because I remember there was an arcade I used to go to called Nickel Nickel. Everything was a nickel, but then it wasn't really
Yep.
always a nickel because it was a nickel, but sometimes it would be nickels, right? It's like, oh
Yeah.
hey, it's 10 nickels to play this game. It's like, so it's 50 cents. Like, come on, it's 2 quarters. But I remember liking that place. And it was really cool. And I remember the first time somebody put like a nickel or even a quarter, like when they put a quarter there on the game, like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, I'm
Yep.
next. I had no idea what that meant. I just remember being like, oh, no,
Oh.
thanks. I'm good. You know, I thought they were giving me the nickel or quarter. I was like, oh, my.
No, I already got my nickels. We're good. And it's like, no, no, I got next.
Yeah, so I
Oh.
didn't know anything about etiquette until like way later in life about like arcade stuff. But you brought up an interesting topic that I wanted to kind of talk about now that you brought it up was PG-13 movies because
Hmm.
there are a lot of kids that watch PG-13 movies and a lot of those movies tend to be Marvel movies, right? They're kind of like, oh, we're the good guys and it's an action movie and it's supposed to be innocent, but yet it's PG-13, so you can throw in an F word, F bomb here and there because you always get one. I don't know if anybody knows that, but in a PG-13 movie, if you use the F word, it goes immediately to PG-13. You only get one F word. If you use more than that, it goes rated R. So you only get
Boom.
one.
Well, F
Yeah.
that.
F, yeah. But I know that like with I want to say probably like most Marvel movies were pretty clean. PG-13, like what was it? Like Iron Man was PG-13, the first one. Is there anything that you would say is identically like bad about Iron Man that kids the age of under 13, because it says parental guidance 13. Like you can see it by yourself when you're 13, but you should be with an adult if you're younger than that. But let's just say they're 5. Is there a
No.
reason why they shouldn't watch that?
Well, there's you gotta look at it this way. You could say, oh, there's too much violence. Not they're 5 years old. You hit them with all of that action all at once, and I'm only saying that just because you never know. I mean, not that I'm saying like every child's gonna be on the spectrum somewhere. No, but for a kid that's never experienced that much action, flashes, movement, everything happening, it can freak them out. So just on the sheer fact is they're not, in my opinion, mature enough to even comprehend what's happening, understand what's going on, realize that it's a movie, think it's real, have nightmares, so on and so on. So no, for me, I'm saying I wouldn't even entertain the idea of a 5-year-old seeing a rated PG-13 movie. Even if all their friends saw it, it's like, because yeah, my son was in the same boat. All of his friends had cell phones. I'm like, no, dude, you're way too flippin' young. Oh, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? I can get a hold of you. I just call
How
the
old?
school.
How old was he?
I think it was, he's probably gonna, if he ever listened, I think it's like, he started talking about it in like elementary school.
Hmm.
And, junior high was a little bit different. And so that's when we said, okay, just, making sure that he got home because it's a little bit different. But I honestly think we could have waited even till high school
Yeah.
um, to get a phone where they're actually mature enough to understand it. I mean, if they really, 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 really wanted to get on social media, they could just jump on the computer, family computer, and just sit there and just crack out on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and all that stuff.
Wasn't like
And
Australia one of the countries that banned social media for people under a certain age recently? I don't know if you heard about that.
I think so. Was it like
Yeah.
16 or something like that?
I think it was something like that. Yeah, 16.
Hmm.
I don't think that's a bad idea. As much as I believe that, freedom of speech and to do what you need to do, but for kids, like I don't think they understand the ramifications of putting yourself out there and doing stupid stuff. You know, me talking about what I'm talking about now, it's like I understand, that it's not always going to be popular, but for kids to form their own decisions and to think to do something that they don't really truly understand the consequences of, that's scary because I'm thinking about my daughter, being in elementary school. When your kid was when he was asking for a phone, my kid's probably gonna have everybody's gonna have a phone in second and third grade, So
Right, right.
and I'm like, well, what do you do? Like, how do you block out certain apps? And I remember some of those when I used to work at the special needs school, like some of those kids were wearing diapers and running around and, low functioning, but they still knew how to get into the computer and go. Supposedly there was a firewall, but here they were getting into Facebook. They had Facebook profiles. How do you explain that? So I'm just like, well, okay, my kid's already knows the remote control. And I feel like I'm going to have to start thinking about when I need to get her a phone for safety or, a watch or whatever, or put what is it, those air tags, in her clothes or
Yeah.
something. But it's scary to think that as a parent, how do I control or keep, I guess I say control, that's probably a bad word. How do I keep her safe? Right? How do I keep her away from the bad people that are online, from the people who are trolls? Like it gets
Yeah.
bad out there. I mean, it's not. It's probably a small percentage of people out there, but you hear about people even on adults on Roblox that are just talking to kids and ask, "Hey, send me a picture, send me this." Right? It's like there's
Yeah.
creeps out there. So I don't understand how I'm supposed to keep my kid away from that because I can't monitor her like every minute of the day.
This is again, a good opportunity to share your experience with your child. So this might be extreme, but at least it kind of feels the same. Say if you like drinking, smoking, how to use a weapon. You have a block of instructions, you have training, you go over it, you discuss it, and then you use it. Again, a gun might be a little extreme,
Mm-hmm.
but a phone can also be just as dangerous
Mm-hmm.
to the child, to your bank account, to whatever, your identity, you name it. It's just as powerful. So you need to talk to your children about the phone and what its intent is. Your safety, where you're at, being able to reach emergencies, that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then there's social media. And then what does that mean? It's your opportunity to express yourself freely with everybody and they like you and all that stuff. But you just go through all the harsh truths with your children about
That's a good one.
that,
Yeah.
and letting them understand or letting them know that as you're going through your fun time with your apps and all that stuff, just if you ever have questions of like, hey, dad, mom, what does this mean? We can talk about it. I'd rather be a part of it, part of their journey, trying to figure things out, than constantly going, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. Because guess what? They're going to do it. So at least I look at it as an opportunity to educate and to inform them of what to be aware of so that they just don't make that mistake. Will they do it? Possibly. But you just hope that it's not more than once. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, with rules in place, I mean, they can follow it. And if they don't, I mean, also at the same time, too, they'll understand why what happened and why there was some negative consequence to, not following that guidance. No, I think that was really cool today. I think we talked about a lot of fun stuff like don't spank your kids, guys. It's not okay. Don't do it. There's other ways to discipline your child. Like, Ian mentioned. I think that's pretty smart. I'm gonna try something like that. I'm just gonna have her do some push-ups. She's only 2.
hey,
But no, I get it. They get old enough, it's like they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It's like, well, sorry, it's gonna hurt you more than it hurts me, and I can work out with them, right?
yeah,
Like 10 more. Let's keep going, doing it right. But I mean, also too, just talking about just in general what kids maybe shouldn't be watching. And I know as a parent, it's going to be hard. Right now, it's easy. I can kind of monitor what they're doing. I'm in a fortunate spot to where I can have eyes on them when I need to. But some parents, you're busy, you're running around, you're working night shifts, or whatever it may be, and it's hard to keep an eye on your kids all the
yeah.
time. And you have to trust that there's the other parent or that babysitter that you can trust that they're letting them watch something that, or they're allowing them to watch something that's suitable for their age.
The kids are going to tell you, guess what? The babysitter let us watch this and
Yeah.
this. And you're like, oh, cool, thanks. And then that
Yeah.
babysitter never comes back.
We watched Power Rangers, it's like, and now they're beating each other up. That's- my daughter's gonna kick my son's butt. But no, I mean, I appreciate, Ian. It's always fun talking about this stuff. And again, we don't have the right answers to, what people should be doing and what you shouldn't do, but we just like to share our thoughts and our opinions. And thank you for tuning in. And hopefully this episode resonated with you today. And if it did, give us a shout out, leave a comment, subscribe, and we'll see you all next time. Take care.
And just remember, you're A-OK.
The A-OK podcast. Bye, everyone.
Blue Chews 30% off.